What's up guys, it's Jaylee. For this video, I want to talk about my life before I started playing VRChat and how VRChat has changed me as a person. So I want to talk about my video game experience growing up. I grew up in the early 2000s, I'm pretty much a 90s baby. My very first game console was the N64, but I've also played the PS1, the SNES, and the Sega Genesis growing up as well, because I have older siblings. But my first console was the N64. And my very first game, I believe, was Super Smash Bros. On the N64, and then I got Mario Party, Pokemon Stadium, Donkey Kong, Ocarina of Time, all those great games. And then after the N64, I got the GameCube and the PlayStation 2. Going from the N64 to those consoles was just mind-boggling. For example, when I got the PS2, the very first game I got was Gran Turismo 3. Going from Mario Kart 64 graphics to Gran Turismo 3 graphics on the PS2 was just mind-boggling. Like, the graphics on Gran Turismo 3, in my opinion, still hold up to this day. The graphics at the time looked so freaking realistic, it was just mind-boggling. Even going from Smash 64 to Melee on the GameCube was just mind-boggling. I was blown away that characters actually have fingers now instead of blocky hands, It was just amazing. And what also blew me away was the fact that the PS2, the GameCube, the Dreamcast, the original Xbox all had online functionality, where some games you were able to play online with other people from around the world. That was just mind-boggling. But the thing that impressed me the most was the GameCube, and that's due to the fact that the GameCube had a wireless controller called the Wavebird. That was my first experience of using a wireless controller without wires. I thought that was the coolest thing at the time. Okay? After the PS2 and GameCube, next comes the Wii and the PS3. Those were my next consoles. And going from that to that, the GameCube to the Wii and the PS2 to the PS3, in terms of graphics, it didn't really have much of an impact compared to, the N64 to the PS2 and GameCube. Because realistically, the PS3 and the Wii, when it comes to graphics, it wasn't really much of a difference or much of an impact, compared to the N64 to the GameCube. But what really blew me away was the fact that the PS3 had HD graphics, the first time where a lot of video games were just high definition, things weren't so pixely and stuff, everything was high definition. And even the Wii with the whole, Wii motion controls. And just looking back at it now, it kind of felt like VR, it felt like an early prototype of VR at the time, the Wii was pretty mind-boggling. But yeah, I have a lot of great memories with the PS3 and the Wii, especially with the PS3 because one of my favorite games on the PS3 is Metal Gear Solid 4. And I even played on the PlayStation Home app as well. PlayStation Home was kind of like the early version of VRChat, if you really think about it. It was a social platform where you can chit-chat with other people. Not to mention the PS3 came with a wireless controller, which I thought was pretty cool. And then of course the Wii, my favorite game on the Wii was Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And at the time, when the Wii and PS3 came out, I was in middle school. And it's just crazy just thinking about it now, right? Because, when the GameCube and PS2 came out, I was in elementary school. And, online gaming wasn't really a thing, even though the PS2 and GameCube had online functionality. When I was in class, my friends, we never talked about online gaming at all. But then the moment the PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii comes out, all of a sudden everyone's talking about online gaming. They'd be like, yo, you want to play some COD after school? Let's do some online gaming. And all of a sudden, the PS3, Wii, and Xbox 360, that's just the beginning of modern gaming, HD graphics, wireless controllers, online gaming, you name it, right? And then after that, I got the PS4 and the Wii U. I was one of those people too, where when the Wii U came out, I was so confused by the branding. I was so confused by the name. I was like, is the Wii U just an expansion pack for the Wii? I was so confused at the time. And then of course the PS4 comes out. The only game I really had on the PS4 at the time that I actually really liked was Gran Turismo Sport. I didn't really bother too much with the PS4 at the time. I was mostly playing Smash Bros. 4 on the Wii U, and then after that, the Nintendo Switch comes out. But yeah, pretty much growing up, I wasn't really much of a PC gamer. I was all about the console life. That was pretty much all I did. And then when it comes to portable consoles, my very first portable console was the Game Boy Color. Then I got the Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, 3DS, I got the PSP and the PS Vita. And most of the games that I got on the Game Boy stuff and the DS stuff was pretty much just Pokemon. I was really big into Pokemon at the time. And then with the PSP, I played a lot of Metal Gear Solid games like Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. I played Daxter on the PSP. And back in the day, I used to collect a lot of UMD movies and like cartoon stuff on the PSP. That's basically what I did. I even used my PSP as a freaking iPod or MP3 player. I used to listen to music on my PSP. Oh my goodness, those are some really good times. And what really blew my mind was the PS Vita. The PS Vita had amazing titles. One of my favorite games on the PS Vita was Persona 4 Golden. And the graphics on the PS Vita was just mind-boggling. Like the fact that for like the first time I can actually take HD gaming with me on the go was just mind-boggling, you know. The PS Vita, in my opinion, still holds up to this day, you know. But yeah, like I said, growing up, I was all a console person. And then even like anime too. I want to talk about anime. I used to watch a lot of anime growing up, but ever since I started playing like VRChat and stuff, I kind of stopped with the whole console gaming and even like watching anime, right? Because as you guys can't probably tell, you know, I'm an anime girl. I hang out with people that use anime character like avatars, and VRChat has just become like an addiction, as much as I hate to admit it. And I think a lot of it has to do with, like, you know, the people that I met. You know, I have a lot of friends in VRChat. I talk to a lot of people. I'm a social person. VRChat has made me a social person, which is kind of weird because growing up, I was an introvert. I still consider myself to be an introvert at times, right? Because, like, if I hang out with people that, you know, I don't really know that well, I'm very quiet. But if I get to know someone, I talk a lot. So yeah, ever since I started playing VRChat, I stopped watching anime, which is really weird. I did recently get into Demon Slayer, which is one of my favorite animes so far. But yeah, I stopped watching anime for a few years, and then I just stopped buying video games. I don't know why, like VRChat has essentially replaced anime and like gaming for me, you know? And funny enough, I started playing VRChat back in 2017. I watched a video from PewDiePie. He made a video about VRChat, and ever since then, I was hooked. The funny thing about that, when I first started playing VRChat, I had a really shitty laptop. It was just a laptop I had for college at the time. It wasn't even strong enough to even run VRChat on desktop. That's how bad it was. Because at the time, I never considered myself to be a PC gamer, right? And the funny thing is, before VRChat, I never even used Steam. I never had a Steam account. VRChat forced me to get a Steam account, which, funny enough, is so funny. And of course, because of VRChat, you know, I consider myself to be somewhat of a PC gamer now, I guess, if that makes sense. But yeah, at the time, I just never cared about owning a PC. Right now, I have a gaming laptop. You know, I got an RTX 2070, so it's plenty fast to run VR. But yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to like my overall experience. I went from basically watching a lot of anime, playing a lot of game consoles, to now just constantly on VR with the gaming laptop. So that's pretty much like my story. Another thing too, before I started playing VRChat, I mean, I do have IRL friends, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't really see my IRL friends as much as I used to. Before VRChat, I used to be an outside person. I used to go outside a lot. I used to go to the mall. I used to go to bars. I used to go to the movies. I used to go to bowling alleys and all that stuff. I used to hang out with my friends a lot. But ever since I started playing VRChat, I don't really do that stuff anymore. I mean, I still hang out with my IRL friends, but not as much as I used to, as much as I hate to admit it. Another thing too was, you know, back in 2017 to now, you know, in 2020, you know, the whole like pandemic stuff happened, And that just made it even worse for me, because now at that point I was pretty much well within VR. So I believe it was 2019, because I graduated college in 2018. So in 2019, that's when I got a job, and then my very first paycheck, I basically got a gaming computer, and then my very first VR headset at the time was a Rift S. I got a gaming computer and a Rift S with my first paycheck. And the rest is pretty much history. After the Rift S, I got the Valve Index. And then I got the Vive trackers. But then unfortunately, my Valve Index, it no longer works. So then after my Valve Index, I got the Quest 2, which is the headset that I'm currently using with the Quest Pro controllers. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the type of VR equipment that I've owned. And yeah, that pretty much sums up how VRChat has changed my life. VRChat basically made me stop watching anime, and I don't spend as much money as I used to when it comes to buying video games, you know? I don't even have a PS5 or like an Xbox Series X. If I never even bothered trying out VRChat, I would probably be playing on the PS5 right now. I don't even play Super Smash Bros. As much as I used to anymore. I used to play Smash Bros. A lot back in the day. You know, I used to be addicted. But VRChat kind of overpowered everything, you know? And now I'm pretty much just on VRChat 24/7. I'm pretty much on every single day. You know, just exploring maps, socializing with friends, and obviously making YouTube content. So another thing too is VRChat made me become a VTuber / YouTuber and a TikToker, you know? It's crazy how much this social platform has really changed my life. You know? It's crazy. I never thought in a million years I would be a freaking YouTuber / VTuber. It's crazy. And what's even more crazy is I have a VRChat video that I made. It's a YouTube short video, but it's my most viewed video, and that video alone has over like 1.1 million views. So not only did VRChat, I guess, make me become a YouTuber, but I guess it also made me, I guess, famous or internet famous. Yeah, this social platform is crazy. It's crazy. It's changed my life so much. If I were to compare myself to like who I was back before I started playing VRChat, I'm a completely different person. Because once again, I was a console gamer, I was an introvert, I basically consider myself a weeb. I mean, I guess I'm still a weeb now, because I still love anime. It's just that, because of VRChat, I haven't really gone out of my way to watch new animes, you know? Recently, one of my VRChat friends, like I said, has gotten me into watching Demon Slayer, and it made me realize how much anime I've been missing out. Because before I started watching Demon Slayer recently, I haven't watched a new anime for like over 3 years. So it's been a very, very long time. But yeah, that's pretty much my story of how I went from being a casual gamer to, I guess, a VR gamer / VTuber / YouTuber. But yeah, if you guys like this video, you know, please give this video a thumbs up. And please leave a comment down below if you guys have any questions about my gaming life or, you know, anything in general. But yeah, this was a pretty long, random video, just me saying random shit. I hope you guys enjoyed this weird video that I made. But yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. But well, what I do want to say is, before I end the video, is thank you guys so much for the continued support. Thank you guys to all of you that take the time out of your day to watch my content. It really does mean a lot to me. You guys are the reason why I still make videos. But yep, anyways, this has been a pretty long VRChat video. This is Jaylee, and I am out. Peace.